Okay. I am going to say once more what I have been saying since before the season began. The Philadelphia Eagles are going to win the Super Bowl because their GM, Howie Roseman, did everything Jerry Jones did not do during the offseason. Howie Roseman went out and he won free agency. Then he won the draft. Howie Roseman signed Saquon and Zach Bond and C.J. Gardner-Johnson, and he drafted the two best corners in the draft, Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean. And look at them now. Fly, Eagles, fly. But, yeah, I must admit to you, I did not love the way the Eagles played Sunday. They obviously weren't nearly as convincing as the Ravens were on Saturday. Though I do believe the Eagles will be much better this coming Sunday, and if they have to go win at Detroit, they will be even better and win at Detroit. But you got me on this. I'm declaring myself open book, so to speak. I did not like three things I saw Sunday at Philly. With a minute and 9 seconds left, Saquon Barkley suddenly was off to the races. And even more suddenly, he shut it down and came to a sliding halt after only 17 yards of what could have, should have been a 76-yard touchdown run. I try to love Saquon. He has obviously been a difference maker and was, for most of the year, an MVP candidate. He has run much harder between the tackles than I ever saw him run for the New York Football Giants. But this is just me. This is what I don't love about Saquon is I don't see enough of that football killer instinct, that football assassin. Saquon, you bust one, you take it to the house, you end the game from 76 yards away. The whole stadium erupts. It springboards you into your next home game, next playoff game. Your teammates go berserk. They're all running to the end zone to celebrate with you. It just creates momentum. It just creates feel good. It just creates rare, raw, detonated excitement in that stadium that catapults you deep into the playoffs. You just do it because that's what you do. My friend Eric Dickerson, whose record you had a chance to break, whose record I campaigned for you to have the ability, the opportunity to break. My friend Eric Dickerson, you give him that crack, you give him that crease, you give him that opportunity to end the game, flying all the way down the field home. Eric ain't going into no slide. Trust me. The great Jim Brown, give him that. He just says, I'm stepping on your throat. I'm going to run all the way down your throat into the end zone. The great ones have badass in them. Doesn't mean you have to be a bad guy off the field. Saquon's a great guy, but sometimes he's a little bit too much of a nice guy. I don't know. Sportsmanship has its place, but not there. You just run and run and run until you can't run anymore. You run and you jump in the stands. You ignite the city of Philadelphia. I was just dumbfounded, and I think you missed an amazing opportunity to lift your entire team and city. Maybe it won't matter, but it did to me as a guy who now has to root for the Eagles. I hate because I picked them to win the Super Bowl. The next thing I did not like was A.J. Brown making a scene on the bench of sarcastically reading this book. It looked to me, he was reading because he was bored, frustrated because he had been thrown only 3 passes, caught only 1 for a grand total of 10 yards. I've said it before, he can be a destructive diva, just as interested in personal stats as he is in team wins, even playoff wins. So the book is called Inner Excellence, and the subtitle is Train Your Mind for Extraordinary Performance in the Best Possible Life. So AJ in the locker room to the reporters, and then later on X, on social media, he said, he takes that book to every game, that he often reads that book on the sideline. Several of his teammates backed him up, except for one teammate that he's been at odds with since last year. That teammate passes him the sugar. That teammate is Jalen Hurts, who did not play very well, got off to a hot start, 6 of his first 6, then he missed 7 straight. And he pulled it back together down the stretch and went 3 for his last 3, including what was a poor throw that Dallas Goedert snatched, made a great catch on it, and then blew through a defender all the way home for what became the clinching touchdown. But Jalen was only 13 or 21 for 131 yards. But he and AJ, as I reported a year ago, had a deep, dark personal issue a year ago. It was bad. I was told during the offseason that they didn't forget, but they forgave. They worked through it. At times this year, they've looked on the same page. Then Brandon Graham said a couple of weeks back, they weren't on the same page, aren't on the same page, and that it's A.J. Brown's responsibility to get on the page with Jalen. My friend Michael Irvin has always said it was his responsibility to make Troy Aikman happy. If Troy criticized him, if he snapped at him, Michael ate it, swallowed it, lived with it, because he is completely dependent upon Troy Aikman to pass him the sugar. It looked to me like A.J. Brown was exaggeratedly reading the book, melodramatically reading the book, knowing that he could be captured on sideline camera. I'm reading the book. I don't know. One guy said, I've never seen him read a book on the sideline. That guy was Jalen Hurts, who I think called BS on him. I don't love it because I think the embers are smoldering in this relationship. I don't love it. I didn't love what happened, but remember, AJ's had a knee issue. He didn't practice on